see if we can move away from lithium metals mining. We'll move to blockchain, crypto, growth. Well, not that lithium isn't a growth industry, but a much newer industry, a much newer asset class, I guess, in a way. So I've got my next guest here, and I see him lurking backstage. Let's bring him on if we can. Sheldon Bennett, the CEO of DMG Blockchain. Sheldon, are you here? Yes, he is. How are we doing today?
Hey, yes, I'm back, Spencer. Good to see you again.
You're back. Good to see you. Since we last spoke, Sheldon, I saw a PR. You guys bought. Actually, tell us what the PR said, because you guys bought some more miners and some more.
Yeah. So since we last spoke, we've gone out and bought some more crypto miners, which is the base of our business, our core business. We bought another 1,800. Expensive little guys. They're all about $11,000 a piece, but they work quite well. But what's interesting about them is they're the new generation. So they're now the 5 nanometer miners out of Bitmain. Previously, they were selling 7 nanometer Bitcoin miners. And before that, you had 10, and before that, you had 16, and before that, you had 26. And so over time, the chips are getting more efficient, and the technology is getting better and better every time. These new miners use less power for the same amount of work. So it's a great investment in an asset that will have a long life and generate a lot of revenue for us for many years.
If you guys haven't seen Sheldon on our channel previously, or if you missed a previous show, I want to share a slide that I definitely told you this last time, Sheldon. Was one of my favorite slides I think that I've seen that explains the crypto space, and that is this guy.
Yes.
I'm a visual learner. This is a very, very good, in my view, visual interpretation of like the Bitcoin and blockchain universe and where different people lie. So as we've got here, DMG is sort of on both tracks, right? You're on the mining track, and that's where the revenue is coming from now. But it's not the only part of your company. So explain the other part of your company.
Yeah. So if you look at the iceberg, and the sort of the tip of the iceberg slide here, the idea is that the world of Bitcoin mining is around a $16 billion business. If you just look at the Bitcoin generated and transaction fees, and there's a bunch of companies that go after that money. We're one of them. There's some much bigger companies than us. There's just thousands of them. And that Bitcoin mining is all about a blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, that has a coin, which is Bitcoin. So it's a use of blockchain, and we're just talking about one blockchain, which is Bitcoin, the largest, and that's the tip of the iceberg. But beneath it, there's lots of applications with Bitcoin that you can monetize. And so we're into the exchanges now, we're into wallets, we're into pools, all things where we can make more transactional fees off of Bitcoin. But also, underneath that tip is every other sort of crypto coin out there: Ethereum, Monero, Solana, you name it. So there's a huge business just in the blockchain ecosystem that DMG is involved in and is getting more involved in. And as you can kind of see, we parsed out 16 billion versus 2 trillion. Those are estimates that we found doing a bit of research. But when you look at the size of this, and I think it's growing every day, we want to position our company not to be just a pure crypto miner, in the minting of coins, but we also want to position our company and have the software that drives all the transactional side of those coins that are generated, through the ecosystem. So, our company can continually get revenue for more than just block rewards. And we're going to be positioned as a trusted partner in this new ecosystem.
Can you speak a little bit about, I guess, sort of how you would call that other part of your business? The non-mining part would be blockchain as a service. Is that like a
So we try to make it simple. We call it core and core plus. Our core business is Bitcoin mining, the top bit of the iceberg there, and anything beyond Bitcoin mining, which is our software business, is called core plus. Okay. And that's really all under the hood and the name of Blockseer. And Blockseer is a company that we bought out of Silicon Valley back in 2016. It was focused in on analytics and sort of all things related to hardcore data science with the Bitcoin blockchain. And we took that company, and they had a product called Explorer that you could follow transactions to the Bitcoin blockchain in a graphical way, so you could see the transactions, the wallet numbers, the amount of coins, the time, how much was moving around. And a very simple but very powerful product because it had a lot of clustering. So it was sort of a smart tool that if you had one wallet interacting with another wallet, it could tell if you were the same beneficial owner. And so it had a lot of great technology around it. It had a way of clustering. So if, one transaction happened at, say, a gaming site that we knew was like a gambling website, it would cluster all the other transactions and say, hey, these are all the wallets that are part of this gambling website. And it gave us a great amount of information about what's going on in the Bitcoin ecosystem. On top of that, we started putting labels on all of these, so you could, we can just write, this is a gambling website. This is whatever gambling website it is. We built that out. We built out some software around managing Bitcoin mining operations. Then we built out our first pool, which we white labeled and sold off, or I shouldn't say sold, but licensed to Marathon, which is the largest Bitcoin miner in the US. We've got a second pool with Argo called TerraPool, and it's all based on sustainable energy. So you need to have clean, sustainable energy to be on this pool. That one's launching soon. We've been betaing it for the last few weeks with our friends at Argo. And then now we're into the wallets where people can hold crypto with us. We're going to try and get a wallet out soon that you can actually have insurance on your crypto, which is hard to find. So if you have 3 or 4 Bitcoins just sitting around doing nothing, they may be a lot safer to have them with us, where you have insurance on them instead of taking the risk of losing your private keys or somebody hacking into your computer and stealing them or hacking into your phone. So we're really pushing on the safety and security and regulatory sides of crypto to bring crypto to a wider audience. We don't want it just for us lonely miners out there making Bitcoin. We want it for everybody to take on the advantages of having Bitcoin and having a stable asset. Well, having a very volatile asset, but a growing asset. I think it'll become more stable over time.
Sheldon, one of the biggest criticisms of crypto from the traditional finance, aka the TradFis out there, is fees, right? Bitcoin, crypto, the fees, the costs are very, very high. There's of course been fee compression across the board in traditional finance, but it hasn't quite been that way yet for crypto. Whether it's you or Coinbase or whomever, they've all benefited greatly from the fees that they can charge. Do you see that coming down at all?
Yeah, I think it is. Just, if you look at the fee structure of crypto transactions, in general, they're less than traditional banking. So I remember early on in our crypto days, we sent something like $3 million over to Japan for our Japanese operations. Yeah. And we went to the bank to do a wire transfer, and with all their fees and charges, it was $3,000 or $4,000 to send this money over. We decided to send Bitcoin instead, and it cost us 98 cents. So there's a little bit of a difference in economies there, which is using Bitcoin to move value, just to move dollar value. But in the exchanging between dollars and crypto, there's fees that can be, all over the place, depending on the exchange you're using. Yeah. And those, some of them have been very opportunistic and charging a lot. But you're finding now with larger, more organized companies like Coinbase is quite a large, well-known exchange in North America. There's I just did some research on the exchanges because we're launching ours. There's over 1,000 exchanges out around the world. As it grows, it gets bigger and they get more sophisticated. We're finding that fees have been coming down. You might have been charged 2% to 5% to exchange between crypto and fiat currency. That's getting down to 1% and lower. And because of that, you're getting into just like FX conversion rates between dollars, Canadian dollars and US dollars. It's getting more and more competitive as the landscape grows out.
I don't know if I do. Yeah, I definitely did not know that there's over 1,000 exchanges out there. There's way more than 1,000 miners.
There's just literally hundreds of them, and they're small and trying to grow. They all have niche areas. Sure. But there's only a few really big ones like the Binances and the Coinbase and the Geminis.
Sure. All right, there's a bunch of questions in the chat, and I don't want to leave them hanging. I want to leave plenty of time for this because there could be more here. So let's start with this. Two of these are kind of related. I'll start with quantum. Have you considered hedging against the energy sector to reduce your overhead? Good question, quantum.
Have you considered hedging against energy sector to reduce overhead? Not sure I get that one.
Well, I guess like you guys use a lot of energy, right, on the mining front.
Yeah.
So are there hedges that you?
Are you talking about purchasing? Are you talking about hedging as in purchasing power, purchasing forward power?
Yeah.
We don't do that right now. Right now, we buy from our utility, and so we have a fixed price with firm delivery. And we've just found right now with the profitability of Bitcoin mining, it doesn't really make any sense for us to hedge out in the future. Normally, we would look at hedging strategies during what we call crypto winter, when the price is low versus the cost to create a Bitcoin. Then we would look at hedging out and trying to get better power savings. When you do a hedge, it's really hard to get something called firm power. This is like 100% delivery of power. When you buy from a utility, you get 100% firm power. So if I'm hedging, I may or may not get delivery of power. And of course, that if I don't get delivery of power, I can't make Bitcoins. So when you hedge, normally you're giving up the possibility of getting all the power that you want to buy. So it doesn't make any financial sense for us to give up that ability to have firm power. So we don't hedge right now. Something we might do in the future is, if the cost of creating a Bitcoin gets squeezed by the value we can sell a Bitcoin for. And
so then on that same note, then if I'm Matty Ice, how do you minimize how do you maximize your energy use or your efficiency?
So I'm going to have to put this on our website one day. We actually run it with something called parity, which means 100% of the energy that is going through our system is going right into our miners. That sounds really weird because we have ancillary lights in that, but it's I would say very close. I'm thinking about putting this on our website just to show it and explain it a bit better. We don't use other systems of cooling. We don't really use any ancillary power. We're running at a pretty close to 100% power going into our servers. But ways that you can actually get more efficient, besides buying more efficient equipment, is new technology. So one technology we've invested in is immersion cooling. And by using immersion cooling, we use less power because we take all the fans. They actually take a few hundred watts per fan per miner. You take them all off and save all that power. You put it into a fluid. You pump that fluid around the chips. The power of that pump is 1/100th of the power that you would have with the fans running. And you save about 18% from the studies we've done of power for the same amount of hash rate or the same amount of compute rate that you would get with the servers in an air-cooled environment. And so when you talk about efficiencies, so one of the best ways is to convert to a better technology, which is immersion cooling.
Okay, there's a few questions in the chat. Oh, I just almost knocked over my coffee, but I didn't. Mark M, did the topic of acquisitions come up? No, it did not, Mark, but now it is. So we already spoke about the acquisition that you made. You bought some more mining equipment. But as far as other acquisitions, as far as company acquisitions or being acquired, where are you on that front?
I would say that we've had a few people run it trying to acquire us in the past. So that always kind of happens as, there's all companies that are bigger than us that see the assets we have and the technologies we have, and it's interesting for them for their growth. But on other acquisitions, one, we've acquired about 1 exahash of miners. We have about 375 petahash running of that 1 exahash. So we have a lot of deliveries coming over the next 6 to 9 months. We're looking at acquiring another exahash, so we're working on that. We plan on running 2 exahash at our facility in British Columbia. As well, we've announced previous, I would say, not quite acquisitions yet, but they're strategic partnerships with an investment. So we've invested $2 million into Bosonic, which is a layer 2 exchange. We've invested $3 million into Brain, which is a wallet technology that we're going to be launching as Breeze and Freeze for our wallets. We put another $1 million into another exchange. We haven't disclosed who it is yet. We are, at any given time, we're looking at 5 to 6 different sort of acquisitions or strategic partnerships. So always kind of watch us because we are looking at growth organically, which is just our employees and things we can do. But we're also looking at an M&A style of acquisitions to grow our technology quicker and faster and bring it faster to market. So we're definitely looking at acquisitions of companies or more strategic investments where we become a large shareholder and ensure that the partnership we want will be successful with whatever company it is.
Do you need a CX company to test your equipment?
Do I need a CX company?
Actually, I don't know if that would apply to you. Jeff, I'm not sure if you're behind or not Never mind.
So we have our own facility where we test all of our own equipment. We do all of our prototyping. We also own 15% of a company called Black Box Manufacturing that was set up here in Vancouver, and it actually builds all of our proprietary equipment, all of our immersion tanks, all of our power channels, all our racking and distribution. So we're kind of lucky that we have our own manufacturing company that we can rely on.
All right, yeah, he clarified a commissioning company. Thanks. I also didn't know what a CX company was.
Yeah.
So thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, commissioning, normally commissioning on the power side, we used a company called Pace. It's a well-known company across North America that does power commissioning. Outside of that, we just work with regular commissioning certification companies for our proprietary built equipment. So that's usually a CSA qualified company. So the Canadian standards.
Sheldon, if you can put your like contrarian hat on for a second here, what is like the most difficult thing right now that's facing your whether it's your company or the industry? Because there are a lot of these. I would call you guys, you're like half miner, but you're also like half blockchain as a service. And there are a lot of these blockchain companies that pivoted, along the way, and obviously it's a very emerging space, and we still don't really quite know. We know a lot, but we also don't know a lot in terms of how things will play out. What is the biggest hurdle right now?
I think you could put it in different categories. Operationally, what's the most difficult thing as a company? I still think it's the supply chain. Just how difficult it is to get things, how much the price has gone up. Things that we thought worked in a certain way have changed, but when you talk more broadly, what's the biggest sort of issue in our industry, especially about our industry growing? I think it's really all about regulation right now. The U.S. market is really coming around. The regulators are really coming around. They realize crypto's not leaving. It's here to stay. They realize they don't control it. It's not like it's, government controlled assets. And so they're really trying to figure out, how do we work in a crypto world that's developing to protect our citizens? And I think it's as simple as that. How do we stop people from losing their money, being, fraudulent things happening, banks being able to use this without breaking OFAC regulations? So this, how do we make sure that, we can put the rules and regulations in that protect consumers in this industry? And I think that's really what's happening. You're seeing more and more Senate hearings about this. You're seeing more different parts of the government getting involved, putting out working papers, having discussions. And I think it's going to continue all through the next year and hopefully get concluded, but it usually takes a little bit of time, because once the rules are known, I think you're going to see much more activity in crypto. I think you're going to see it's growing. I think you're going to start seeing, banks that you may recognize starting to invite you to put crypto into your accounts or be involved in crypto. And I think that's a real win for the whole industry. So once regulation can be understood, I think you're going to see a huge growth and adoption of crypto. Okay, so on that note then, are you feeling more or less encouraged after last week? Because not that I watched the whole hearing, obviously, but I saw snippets here and there, and some of the stuff on there was really, really good. Some of it was really not. So, but this educating people just really aren't briefed that well, and are trying to figure this out. And it's hard. I mean, I've been doing this for many, many years, and to me, it's second nature. And I don't even consider some of these questions that are asked. Other people, it's the first time they've seen it. But the fact that the process has started and is going is a good thing. And normally in the U.S., when they take on a challenge, I'm Canadian, so I can say in the U.S., when you take on a challenge, like as a country, it's pretty good at figuring stuff out. Maybe not super fast, and that's just the way things are, but it's usually pretty good at figuring things out, putting in the right rules, and allowing people access to what they want. And, people want crypto. More and more people want crypto. More and more people ask about it. Open wallets, trying to figure out with their financial advisors, how do I get some Bitcoin? How do I get this asset instead of just gold? How do I add it? Once the rules are known and financial advisors and people and banks and institutions can start offering it, I think that this is going to be great for the U.S. economy. I think it's going to be great for every economy. And I think it's going to be great for our industry. And I think it's one of the things that most crypto companies like ours really want done. All right, last one here. Sheldon, what's the next news event, next catalyst that we can look forward to? The next news event in DMG will be probably around our core business. Some, I guess you could call it on the mergers and acquisition side, some more growth on our crypto mining side. So I think you'll see that one coming out hopefully before the end of the year, if not really early next year. it's pretty exciting. If things go as planned, our ability on the crypto mining side will grow exponentially, which I think our shareholders would love, and I hope people will react positively to the effort we're putting into growing and expanding our core business.
I give you credit. You're a miner, but you're also not just a miner. You're diversifying across the space. I think that is probably prudent of you. So Sheldon Bennett is the CEO of DMG Blockchain. Let me just double check and make sure I didn't miss anything. I know there's a bunch of questions in there, and I hope I got to all of them. I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. All right, Sheldon, a pleasure as always. Have a good rest of your day. Thanks for joining us on All Access today.
Good to see you again. Thank you.
All right, have a good one.